the dog. So this short video is an exploration of movement with breath, if you feel interested to try this out. And it really is just an exploration of what this is like for you. It's not some sort of graduation process where this is a sign that you're improving or things are getting better. It really doesn't have to be like that. But just to see, you know, how this is, whether it's helpful to you or not. So hopefully he'll go off and do his own thing in a minute. So we're just going to begin by sitting, and you can lean back in the chair, but I prefer to sit with an upright spine, so I'm wriggling towards the front of the chair. And having the hands on the lap, and just turning the hands so the backs of the hands are to the lap. And then bringing the fingertips to touch the thumb tip. You might want to just take a moment to check in with the body, and if any softening is possible, inviting that softening. So it could be that the shoulders are willing to drop a little. It could be that the jaw is willing to soften a little. You might even want to move it from side to side to experiment with that. And it might be that the forehead, the eyebrows, the whole expression on the face is willing to soften or drop a little. And then as we do this practice, letting it be your choice whether to have your eyes open or closed. And again, it's not a sign of progress to have the eyes closed or open. I know different meditative traditions advocate for different things, but let's let this be what's right for you and indeed for me. So I'll probably move between sometimes eyes closed, sometimes eyes open. And not noticing the breath particularly, you don't have to begin with. To begin with, just the movement of beginning to let the fingers open and the thumb open and close again. And it could be an image, might help some people, like, I don't know, a little sea anemone that's opening and closing with the currents of water over it. It could be an image of a water lily on a warm summer's morning. As the sun touches its petals, it opens. And in the evening, as the darkness arrives, the petals close again. And then just noticing what it's like as the petals or the fingers and thumbs open, for the in-breath to come in. And as the fingers and thumbs come together, for the out-breath to travel out. And to begin with, and maybe for the whole thing, not to worry too much about any rigid ideas of matching breath to fingers, just a gentle touching in of in-breath, opening, and out-breath, closing. Letting go, softening, releasing. To some extent this is true in the body. The in-breath does puff up and open the lungs and bring in new, so open up the cells, so the hands are opening on the in-breath and closing on the out-breath when we let go with the breath. But really, you know, it doesn't have to be that way. It's really fine for you if it's the other way around. And if it starts to be really triggering with the breath, then just letting the practice go. Perhaps letting your mind wander to the image of a flower or a sea anemone moving like this. Or just switching the video off altogether. There's no problem with that at all. You know, this whole program is about learning self-compassion and self-care. It can be a really positive step to decide, no, this isn't for me. So sort of applause at that moment, no judgment. If you want to continue, then just noticing the very end of the in-breath, to pick up that point when the in-breath turns into the out-breath and the fingers move in the other direction. So we're kind of now finding 3 phases to the breath. There's the in-breath, the transition moment, and the out-breath. And you can only talk on an out-breath. So my fingers are moving, but I'm really not matching them to my breath. I can't talk and move. So how about I'm quiet for a minute and do my practice, and we do it together. If you want, the 3 phase of in-breath, transition moment, out-breath. If you want, we can introduce the 4th phase, the transition at the end of the out-breath, and the very first moments of in-breath. So now the 4 phase is in-breath, transition, out-breath, transition. And different schools of yoga and breathing practices will get all excited about trying to lengthen phases or control phases or count phases, and you know, that's got a different intention. The intention there is to do something, and our mindfulness intention isn't. Our mindfulness intention is to try this out and notice. And the reason the mindfulness intention is that is because it's so rare in life that we do that we don't have a goal, or if we have a goal, the goal is to be curious, to be interested, to find out, what is this like for me and is it helpful? Allowing your fingers to move, if you want, with the breath. And now a little bit wider focus, noticing the impact on your mind. What sort of thoughts are here? Or on your mood? What sort of feeling is here? What are you noticing right now? If this is really challenging and you're kind of pushing yourself, then just pausing and maybe bringing a hand to the body and saying it's okay. You know, there are reasons it's difficult. And maybe clicking over to the video about working with difficulty. And really resourcing yourself, because there are lots of practices to help in that place. If it's one of those days when you're enjoying this, or it's just very neutral, maybe just peaceful, calm, untriggered, we just take a moment now to install that, to really savor the feeling of what's in this body right now. It's like turning inward with eyes closed or eyes open, but attention goes inward and feels, what's this like in my gut, in my shoulders, in my face. And the longer we stay soaking that up, soaking that in, the longer the neurons in our brain have to get the hang of positive in inverted commas, lovely or peaceful experiences. Soaking them up, and when we soak them up, we're growing new neurons in the brain, the ones that know how to enjoy pleasant experiences. And then we use those neurons out in life. We see things that in the past we might have just kind of skidded over, but we begin to connect and look for and engage with the pleasant. Just growing the good in our lives. So taking a moment just to drop the movement of the hands. You want to bring the hands onto the legs and just notice the feet here on the floor or whatever it is that's touching down. If you're sitting on a sofa or a chair, whatever's touching down. Allowing your attention to kind of broaden out, dropping the breath and dropping these movements and coming back into whole body awareness. And maybe taking a moment to look around yourself at the environment you're sitting in. When you feel ready, when you feel kind of connected back to the outside world, then ending the take.